There are 4 deadly mistakes that most men make in life. These mistakes cause divorces, mental breakdowns, business failure. They basically fuck everything up. And the worst part is 98% of men are making these mistakes without even realizing it. So in today's podcast episode, I'm going to be breaking down how fixing these 4 mistakes helped me reignite the spark in my marriage. It's made me millions of dollars, and it's allowed me to be the leader and role model my family deserves. It's literally kept my family together. If you want to upgrade your health, wealth, and relationships, you're gonna want to fix these 4 things right away. The first deadly mistake here is called sedation. I just came out of an event with 70 men, some of Australia and New Zealand's most successful men, clients of our Empowered Man program. These men between them made about $750 million a year. They were all successful, yet every single one of them was going through something called sedation. Different words for this are mental masturbation, procrastination. I guarantee you've experienced what all of these men experienced and what I went through too. Because every single day as a man is full of pressure and stress, it's literally war out there, what we tend to do, without even realizing it, is we look for ways or methods or tools to numb that pressure and numb that pain. It could be alcohol, it could be smoking some weed, it could be other drugs. For a lot of men, it's not alcohol and drugs. They sedate by working all the time because when they're at work, they feel like they're in control. For me, I'd come home after a long day, and because I wasn't in control at work, I'd numb myself with substances. For a lot of men, it's scrolling on the phone, sedating during a lunch break, throughout the day, or at the end of the day, scrolling through TikTok videos, scrolling through the feed, getting that dopamine hit in your body. For a lot of men, sedation comes in the form of pornography, jerking off multiple times a day or each week, getting this kick out of this artificial thing that isn't really real, especially those massive gangbang ones. I mean, does that shit really happen? But all jokes aside, when I was at this event, it was fascinating to me. We had a guy who makes about $40 million a year. He's a successful guy. We coach successful men. And I asked him what the biggest problem in his life was. And he said, I numb myself. I numb myself with cocaine. So I asked him, well, how much cocaine? He said, I don't have much left. I'm going to throw it out soon. I said, how much? He said, about $1,500 worth. Now, that's not a small amount of cocaine. But we do this thing called sedation, and we do it because most men haven't been taught how to handle their thoughts, feelings, actions, and reactions. Let me explain what I mean. This is a big thing we teach here at the Empowered Man. Let's say you are running a business, you're successful, you're making money. There's 3 key areas as a man. There's your health, your wealth, and your relationships. Most men put all of their time and energy into their wealth. Now, you can sedate without being wealthy, but we coach successful guys. Hopefully you're one of them who wants to grow. This is the place, wealth, all the time and energy goes there, right? Because you're putting out fires, there's the stress of running a business or making money. There's the stress of paying bills, taxes, providing a life of freedom for your family. There's the stress and pressure that builds up within us. Now, most men aren't even aware of this. Like, I wasn't aware of it. I'd come home and lose my shit. I wasn't aware it was happening. It's subconscious. It's stored within you, right? Because we feel this discomfort, there's negative emotions like frustration, anger, fear, uncertainty. You feel guilty. There's all these negative emotions and negative thoughts. How am I going to pay bills? My wife doesn't appreciate me. This all builds up within us. Because we're not aware of it, our body does what is natural. It goes to a habit. So a habit might be scrolling on the phone. A habit might be drinking. It might be smoking. It might be jerking off. These are negative habits that take our power away. They don't serve us in any way except numbing the pressure, numbing the thoughts, numbing the emotions. Now, this sedation is a form of procrastination. You and I both know that if we go to the gym or go for a walk or have a difficult conversation with our partner or do things that make our life better, things will improve. However, because it's a default pattern, it literally happens in the brain. What our brain does is it has these patterns. If you imagine walking through snow or walking through a forest on grass, multiple times a day, the path starts to form. It's the exact same in your brain. Your brain goes from the point A to point B with the least path of resistance. So this is happening subconsciously without thinking. For a lot of guys, they come home and they open a beer without thinking about opening a beer. You don't think about wiping your ass, it just happens. It's subconscious, it's embedded to you. So the first step to understand this deadly mistake is to understand what sedation is and how it happens. Sedation is anything that numbs you, that procrastinates, right? From doing the things that will make your life better, which another way of framing this is mental masturbation. You're just mentally going through what you should do in your head and going through a pattern that's screwing you up. So the question to ask yourself is, and I had to do this for myself, I was drinking, smoking weed, watching porn, gambling, that's another one. What are the ways that you sedate yourself? Is it drugs? Is it alcohol? Is it porn? Is it working too much? Is it gambling? Is it scrolling on the phone? What are the things you do that numb you, that you think make your life better, but if you were really honest with yourself, don't? That's the first step. The second step here is to, once you've identified what the sedation is, it's to actually go, cool, what am I gonna consciously choose to do differently? When my brain goes, I wanna have that alcohol, in that moment, have the awareness to go, fuck, I'm doing that thing again. What am I gonna choose differently? And the only way to change a habit takes 3 blocks of 21 days, so 63 days to change a habit, is to choose something to replace the old pattern with. So you have point A, point B, the snow trail has been built. You have to build the new snow trail so many times that it's easier to go down that way. This is how I went from drinking every night, smoking weed and gambling and watching porn, to meditating and journaling and writing down the things I could do to make my life better. So that's the first deadly mistake, sedation, that most men make, and it destroys marriages, it destroys businesses. So many successful guys are unhappy and they procrastinate through this form of sedation. The second deadly mistake that so many men make is they don't know how to communicate. There is little to no communication with the people in their life, but also the man in the mirror. There's no time for reflection. There's no time to actually understand yourself. Let me explain what I mean. I run a multi-million-dollar business. I have a team of 20 staff at the time of recording this. I've built this thing up to help men and change lives. But 5 years ago, I was drinking every night, smoking, arguing with my wife. My relationship was falling apart. I was disconnected. I was constantly triggered. I was losing control of my thoughts and feelings. But I had no idea that was happening because I didn't make the time to learn about myself. I didn't make the time to communicate with myself. I didn't ask myself, why is this happening? How often is it happening? There was no communication with me, which means I wasn't improving. I was constantly stuck in this cycle of fucking everything up in my life. Now, that led to the communication with my wife. I'd have a stressful day in the business. Guess who copped it? My family. I'd come home and lose my shit. I'd be angry and triggered. I would communicate with a negative tone. My wife would ask me how my day was. I'd say it was fine, then go into the other room and crack open a drink. There was no communication with her because there was no communication with myself. And part of the reason that I struggled to communicate with the people that mattered was I didn't want to be seen as weak. I didn't want to be seen as vulnerable. So many successful men wear this mask, pretending like they're strong, pretending like everything's okay. When in reality, you and I know there is an immense amount of weight on your shoulders. Like the pressure is relentless. It can destroy you. It feels like sometimes you can't get up in the morning. This is what happens to so many guys. But they can't communicate that with their partner because they don't want to be seen as weak. They can't communicate it with their team members because they don't want to be seen as weak. The way that you fix this deadly mistake of little to no communication is by first learning how to communicate with yourself. Now, we teach this to all of our clients at The Empowered Man. We have a guy recently who just finished our 8-week intensive. If you'd like to know more about that, just go to the link down below and apply for a coaching session to learn about it. And this guy is very successful. He makes $200 million a year. Now, he doesn't sedate with alcohol or drugs. He sedates with work, which means he doesn't communicate with his partner. And the way he was able to learn how to communicate with his partner was by learning to communicate with himself. He said the program, and our programs are an investment of time, money, and energy. He said it was worth it simply through one thing. Every morning, he writes down on a piece of paper, what am I thinking about today? How am I feeling today? And he sits with himself every morning for 5 minutes, closes his eyes, opens them, writes, sits in with his body, how am I feeling? I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling stressed. I'm feeling triggered. I'm thinking about the bills. I'm thinking about the problems. I'm thinking about that argument from last night. Now, this sounds stupid and extremely simple, but as a man, if you understand what you're feeling and what you're thinking, then you can work through it much easier. How many times you got upset or triggered at someone and you lose your shit and you feel guilty afterwards? It's because you weren't aware in the moment. After the event, you feel guilty because your communication sucked with that person because you don't actually know what's going on for you internally. And this changed my life. It's changed thousands of our clients' lives, is simply communicating with yourself your thoughts and feelings so you can over time shift them. Just like you're communicating, how am I sedating? What can I choose differently? You start to choose different thoughts and feelings. Your thoughts and feelings as a man dictate your actions and reactions. If you think positive thoughts and you feel amazing, guess what? You're gonna do the right shit. You're not gonna react to people, you're gonna respond. The second step of communication is start sharing with the important people in your life what's working and what's not working. It's hard to be vulnerable as a man. But if I'm having a stressful day now, instead of drinking and sedating, I'll sit with myself. What did I think about today? What was stressful? How was I feeling? And then I'll go downstairs and I'll share it with my wife. Now, I won't say to her, I had a terrible day, everything sucks, I'm fucked, I don't know how I'm gonna fucking succeed. No, I'm not a little bitch and I'm not gonna lay my stress on her. But she'll say, how was your day? And instead of responding with, it was fine, I'll say, you know what? It was a really challenging day. And then I'll get vulnerable. I honestly, I was so stressed. I felt like I couldn't get through. And then I'll present a solution. So my wife sees a leader who goes through the fire, who's struggling, but shows up despite that struggle. That's what women respect. That's what your team respects. When my team asks me, how's things going? How are you feeling? Honestly, it's fucking hard. However, I know we're gonna get through. As a man, if you can communicate with yourself, understand your fears, your insecurities, your negative emotions, if you can work on improving them, and if you can be vulnerable with the people in your life, honest and vulnerable about what problems you're going through, while also presenting solutions and showing them that you're gonna figure it out, that means you become a master communicator, and that's how you earn appreciation and respect from the people around you. And as a leader, as a husband, a father, a business owner, that's what you need. You need appreciation and respect so people understand what you're going through. That's why this deadly mistake of communication must be fixed. First, by learning how to communicate with yourself, and second, learning how to communicate and get vulnerable with others from a frame of leadership. The third deadly mistake that most men make is sacrificing time and balance. What do I mean by this? I've built an amazing business. Like most of the guys watching this video, maybe like you're working hard towards something. But so many men sacrifice their health and relationships in the pursuit of wealth. A few days ago, my daughter was downstairs, she's 2.5, and she's crying with her arm outstretched saying, I wanna come upstairs, because I keep telling her that I have to work. The first 6 months of having a daughter, my wife felt like she was raising her on her own. And it almost caused a separation in our marriage. So many men, I've been one of them, our clients have been them as well. Maybe you're experiencing this too. We sacrifice our health, constantly busy, working to provide. We sacrifice our hobbies. We stop doing the things we enjoy. We sacrifice time with our loved ones, working late so that we can make more money and provide. And don't get me wrong, money is important. As a successful man, you've got to be able to provide your family with freedom. Time freedom, financial freedom, location freedom. But if we do that at the sacrifice of our happiness, our joy, our purpose, our peace, then what's the fucking point? There have been moments in my business where I've had more money than ever, I've had better staff than ever, I've had more success than ever, but I've had zero peace. I struggle to switch off at the end of the day. I struggle to be present with my family and actually find joy in life. I don't laugh like I used to, you know, that deep belly laugh? That really deep, real laugh. It's just like, If you're currently making this mistake, I understand why you're doing it. Is this lack of balance is going into the wealth and the success, which is what most of our clients go through. However, the question you got to ask yourself is, if you're on your deathbed and you're looking back on your life, are you going to be grateful and remember all the times you worked? Or are you going to regret the time you missed with your loved ones? And I know this is hard. This is exactly why the Empowered Man movement exists. We help men not only fix their marriage and reconnect with their children, become better fathers and better husbands. We help them do that while also building wealth, having a great business while you also have time. You have freedom, financial freedom, mental freedom, emotional freedom. You have balance between your health, wealth, and relationships. Now, how do you know if you're making this mistake? It's really simple. In your health, are you low on energy? Do you sleep poorly? Are you overweight? Are you mentally struggling? Are you unhappy? Are you depressed? Are you anxious? Are you stressed? If you say yes to any of those things, it means your health is not a priority. And I get it, it's hard. But your health is not a priority. There's a lack of balance in that area. In your relationships, is your partner connected to you? Or are you constantly arguing? Is there silent treatment? Are you feeling like roommates instead of soulmates? Is there less intimacy in sex? Do your children not listen to you or respect you? Do you not make time for your wife or kids? If the answer is yes to any of those things, that means your relationships are out of balance. They're currently not a priority. Again, these are hard things to hear, but the truth will set you free. You might not be sedating, even though most men do. You might not be struggling to communicate, even though most men do. But if your relationships and health are getting sacrificed and are imbalanced compared to making money and wealth, then the recipe for disaster here is divorce. It's a heart attack. It's a mental breakdown. It's working your ass off to build wealth only to lose everything you've worked so hard for. It's exactly what happened to one of our clients, Tim. Built a multi-million-dollar business, but he was constantly triggered because he was working all the time. He had no time for his family, and even though his wife had the car and the house she wanted, she felt like he put the business before her. And guess what? Right before Christmas, she said, "I don't love you anymore." And she left. Now, what Tim was able to do, and what you get to learn how to do, is fix his relationship fast while also having success in the business. And it actually came with prioritizing his health and relationships. Because it might surprise you to know that you can have it all. You can have balance. You can have a business that spews out cash while also having time and freedom. You can switch off at the end of the day. You can wake up full of energy, feeling healthy physically, feeling weaponized, energized, feeling on fire. You can have mental control, bulletproof mind, able to handle anything, and you can have a relationship where your partner looks at you with appreciation, desire, and respect. You can be a role model and leader for your children. Now, if you currently don't have that, then that means you've got to do something about it. And you've got to create that balance between your health, wealth, and relationships. Because if you don't, this third deadly mistake will destroy you. This imbalance is why so many successful men end up getting divorced, 50% divorce rate. And that's just divorces. So the question you got to ask yourself is, am I sacrificing to build wealth? Now, you're always going to sacrifice, but is that sacrifice causing too much of an imbalance in my health, wealth, and relationships? And how can I fix that? When you fix that deadly mistake, magic begins to happen. Now, the fourth deadly mistake is probably the most damaging of all, and I guarantee you are currently making it or you've made it in the past. As men, we come last. You go to the bottom of the barrel. Everyone and everything else comes first. And this is the craziest thing. You can stop sedating and do the right things in life. Stop mentally masturbating, stop procrastinating. You can communicate well with yourself and others. You can find some balance in health and relationships. But if you come last, then that means at some point you're gonna burn out. This is what's happened to so many of the guys you work with. It happened to me very, very recently. So everyone comes first, the wife and the kids. All the time and energy goes into making their life better, but you're not exercising, you're not eating well, you're constantly stressed, you're constantly under pressure. And we have this story in our head that it's selfish to put ourselves first. It's selfish to invest time, money, and energy into ourselves. Because if we invest time, money, and energy into the man in the mirror, that by definition means time, money, and energy isn't going into other people or other places. Now, the best way to think about this here is if there's an emergency on a plane, God forbid, you and your family are on a plane and it starts nosediving, or maybe the oxygen disappears and the oxygen masks come down. If you don't get the oxygen mask on yourself, maybe one or two of your family members might not get theirs on. Maybe your children might not get theirs on. So if you try and put theirs on first and you get it on your son and then you pass out before you get it on your daughter could die if your wife isn't there or if she can't get hers on. But if you put your mask on yourself first, you can then ensure that everyone else gets the oxygen that they need. And it's the exact same in our business, in our relationships, in our life. I know for me, when I used to put my wife and my daughter first, which is what I thought I was supposed to do, my team first, I was constantly burnt out, stressed, triggered, and angry. Now, I have a different relationship with the man in the mirror. I come first. And I'm not ashamed to say that. My morning routines, my daily rituals, my evening reflections, the things I teach in the Empowered Man program, I am the number one priority, and that is the most selfless thing I can do for my family. Because when I look after myself and prioritize myself and make time for myself, I'm calmer. I'm more patient with my wife. I'm able to support her better with our daughter. I'm able to be a better leader for my team despite the challenges and pressure, the fires that we have to put out. Because I'm making time for myself, I'm mentally limitless, I'm in control, I feel good, I look good, I communicate well, all because I'm investing in myself. As a man, you gotta ask yourself, how much time, money, and energy have you put into your wealth or your business? How much time, money, and energy have you put into your family? How much time, money, and energy do you put into your car, into your phone, compared to the time, money, and energy you put into you, the man in the mirror? One of the best things you can do to destroy this mistake, to fix all these problems, is to invest in yourself. We upgrade our phones, we upgrade our cars, we upgrade our businesses. When was the last time you upgraded you? Upgraded your communication, upgraded your mental health, upgraded your physical health, upgraded your skill sets in business, became more aware of things. Most men don't do this because they think it's selfish. They come last, they're at the bottom of the barrel, and that's a deadly mistake to make. The way you fix it is you invest in yourself. I'm recording this in 2023. It's launching on the 6th of December, 2023. What if 2024, or whenever you're listening to this, was your best year ever? That's only gonna happen if you start putting yourself first and upgrading yourself and investing in the man in the mirror, becoming the best man you can be for your family. Now, most men don't know how to do that, and that's exactly why the Empowered Man exists. So before we recap, if you want to be the best man you can be, if you want to be a better father, a better husband, a better business owner, if you want to have wealth and success while also having a great relationship and a healthy body and mind, then down below, you'll be able to book a coaching session with our Empowered Man team. And on that session, we'll literally build out your custom Empowered Man roadmap on how you can have it all in life, destroy these deadly mistakes, and ultimately win and succeed as a man. So let's recap these 4 deadly mistakes that most men make. The first one, sedation. Drugs, alcohol, scrolling on screens, gambling, porn, working too much, things we do subconsciously that take our power away to numb ourselves, to procrastinate and mentally masturbate. The solution, bring awareness to what these principles or habits are that destroy you and choose something different. It's gonna be hard initially, but every repetition, every time you go to the gym and do a bicep curl, it gets stronger. You do 1 rep of choosing something different, 10, 20, you become stronger. Deadly mistake number 2, not communicating with our loved ones, but also the man in the mirror. How do you fix this? Start bringing awareness to your thoughts and feelings. You can do this every morning and night with a pen and paper, and start getting vulnerable with the people in your life, communicating what's going on for you, and then presenting solutions and showing them what a leader looks like. Mistake number 3, sacrificing your time and having no balance. If your health and relationships are not working, that means you're sacrificing too much and you're lacking balance. How do you fix this? You need a plan and a roadmap to have health, wealth, and relationships all lined up to have that balance you deserve, the freedom you work so hard for. And mistake number 4, you come last, you go to the bottom of the barrel. How do you solve this? You invest in yourself, you upgrade yourself, time, money, and energy into you so you can show up as a better man for the people you love. Those are the 4 deadly mistakes and how to fix them. If you'd like help with that, make sure you go down below and book a coaching session with our team and give this video a thumbs up so we can help more men.